Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the main event Fightcast, and I have been dying to get started on this show, this episode. I'm your host, Vega. This is my co-host, Coach Mike.
Yes,
and we're going to get right into it, man. Because I want to start it off with, I don't know what took over the MMA community, and I'm talking about the whole, like, people I look up to as far as, like, knowledgeable people in the industry, in the game, from all directions, coaches, fighters, analysts, journalists, like everybody, right? For everybody, bro, because it felt like the more and more we got closer to the fight, especially from after the last episode,
everybody was picking
Sean O'Malley, bro. And I was just sitting there like, what is happening right now? Like, what is it that I'm missing that everybody else, that I'm on the wrong side of this bet? Because normally, we all understand that the wrestler has the highest probability of winning the fight.
Well, I guess I had to take some of it too, because I felt like O'Malley would probably win, but I was hoping Merab would win.
Understand where the possibility that Sean O'Malley was going to win this fight really came from. Because, all right, so if we're just talking about in general, right? Generally speaking, a striker is already at a disadvantage against a wrestler in a Vegas, right? Because the wrestler is just going to take it to the ground. Yes, in a Vegas fight, a striker is going to get scored better, right? But the likelihood that they're going to be able to stay on their feet, super low. But then we really hone in on who is actually fighting. And this is where my mystery is. Everybody that I've always looked at that usually fully understands and breaks this down in an unbiased way was under a spell this week, because O'Malley hasn't really fought anyone who could test his wrestling.
Well, the thing
he was gifted a win against Peter Yan.
Aljo messed up, man. I think Aljo messed up and gave false confidence to maybe even Sean O'Malley.
But, all right, giving false confidence to Sean O'Malley, that's expected. He won the fight. But he thinks in his mind, I'm able to get this done.
It also
right?
fools
as
the bettors.
As a community, how did the community get fooled? Because we didn't win the fight. We saw the fight. We saw what happened. And when you look at the things that stand out no matter what, Aljo didn't stick to his game plan. He was rushing.
True.
That fight was stopped faster than it should have been.
I agree. You haven't said anything I disagree on.
So if we have these facts, right, Sean O'Malley's absolute best performance in that cage to date, in my opinion, was against Chito Vera. And in my opinion, that was simultaneously Chito Vera's worst performance.
It doesn't look that way. It looks like his best performance was Aljo, because the name that you got is a two-time
I'm just looking at two people in a ring. If we take names away, when I look back and say, okay, where did you perform best? It was against Chito. Where did Chito perform worst? For some reason, in that same fight.
Nah, I think that's how the fight goes. Chito and him fight 3 more times. That's how it goes.
Nah, because I felt like Chito versus Sean O'Malley felt a lot like Grasso or Aldana versus Nunez, where the expectation we had from this fighter as to what they should be doing or what they were going to do didn't happen at all. And I'll even credit Sean O'Malley in this fight with Merab, right? Where for as much as a Sean O'Malley hater as I've been, and this is just not being a fan of Sean O'Malley person as a fighter, he's obviously a good fighter, right? But as a champion, I don't think he's ever should have been in that position yet. I definitely think they were building him to that, and they could have kept building that. And there's still a possibility of a resurgence, but way too fast for it, right? Again, and it's crazy because the person who most analytically was actually the guy opposite Sean O'Malley, right? He's breaking it down, whether they were asking him about Umar or asking him about him versus Sean O'Malley. He's like, listen, I am on a 10-fight win streak. And the last 5 of those fights were all 4 wins you people brag about. Who has he fought that's giving you this confidence that this is going to be easy or this is actually going to happen? Mm-hmm. Like, and I'm sitting there like, yo, what did I miss that got everybody
on one side?
betting
on one side of the coin,
bro?
You have somebody with the easiest title because the UFC believe he's a star. They believe he'll sell tickets,
and they're not wrong. You're not wrong.
To a certain extent, I don't think he's as big of a star as they think he is.
I think that,
On the
again,
other side,
he
you got
shouldn't have been
Merab, who had
champion
a
yet.
very hard path to
If
title.
he
But
wasn't
some of
champion.
it is his fault, though. He wasn't going to fight Aljo.
Anything.
Yeah, but him getting these super hard fights was like, while Aljo was champion, he was taking fights knowing that he could have possibly been screaming for the belt, but he wasn't going to do that.
That's fair. So he did the next best thing.
Mhm.
Anybody else who thinks that they're worthy of getting the belt has to go through me. It's literally if Max and Volkanovski were on the same team. If they were in the same camp, that's the same exact situation we have. Whereas anybody who wants to fight Volk has to beat Max. And
At that point.
nobody's beating Max, bro.
At that At that point, that's what it would have.
That's really what it was, bro.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see that play out in a crazy way.
Fortunate that Aljo got pressured into taking that fight early.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But again, grown man shit,
that's me
as
being an
you
Aljo
say, and as I commend you for standing on, because like I said, I think it's really tough to call Dana White's bluffs because Dana White doesn't really seem like the type of guy who's bluffing. He really, when he says, you're not really calling his bluff. You're saying the thing you're punishing me with or the thing you're threatening me with is not as bad as you think, as opposed to in most cases where you're like, the thing you're threatening with, you're never actually gonna do. Like stripping the title, 100% Dana White was gonna strip the title from him.
I don't believe he would have. Possibly would have put an interim belt, and even that would have made him look funny in the light. Even that, would he have been able to go to sleep at night and be like, this guy just defended his title 3 months ago, but I'm gonna.
Yeah, he probably would have.
I'm gonna go there and search for a new champion.
He probably would have ruled himself after the fact.
Yeah,
he would have felt bad, but he would have done it.
He probably would have. He probably would have got in.
The action would have been done.
He probably would have got in so deep that he wouldn't have pulled out, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. He would have done it.
But that's why Aljo had to not really call his bluff per se, saying he's calling his bluff, but calling his bluff like
more than me.
Hey, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to make weight right now. My knee isn't 100%. Whatever it is isn't 100%. I am not going to be able to make weight and defend this title. Whatever you need to do, I'll be ready in a few months.
Now, for as much gave everybody who was on the Sean O'Malley side of the fight, I give myself equally as much shit for being on the Grasso side of the fight versus Shevchenko. Because
wait. Before we jump to that, I'm gonna double down on what you were saying earlier.
Okay.
About judging.
Yep.
What did the judges see?
Yo, what did the judges
see in that main event?
What did the judges see to merit a 48-47? What did the judges see?
You're saying that O'Malley won.
You're saying it was competitive at any point, and like unfortunately, and again, I cut myself off somehow from saying this earlier, but I meant to say it. I do believe O'Malley has the potential to be a star, and also has the potential to be a long-running champion. I think they moved him along too fast. What they should have done, which you allude to a lot when you talk about people like oh man, I'm drawing a blank on the name, but ultimately.
Ian Machado Gary. How his path was slow. That's what you're probably talking about.
No, I was thinking about giving somebody I can't think of the other side of the examples you give. Like I'm thinking about a Canelo example that you gave or a Mayweather example.
Oh, you're talking about
fighting a fighter early.
Okay. You're talking about when Mayweather fought Canelo while he was.
So in this case, my thought process is the best game plan would have been let Sean O'Malley fight Merab 6 or 7 fights ago when Merab started calling him out. Because then it's a win-win situation, right? Sean O'Malley wins, we get that problem out the way quick before Merab becomes what he becomes. Fight again, it's a rematch, and I've already done this once. I should be able to pull it off, right? The other side of it that's a possibility, Sean O'Malley loses. But he loses so early in his career that it becomes one of those things where people are like, who cares, bro? Like in the case of Merab.
I mean,
when we look at Merab's loss, we're like, yeah, but who?
injury and whatnot, and it was so
Even the
early in
Cheeto loss is
it
like
was so early in his career that he was able to like really, I'm undefeated. That was
that was
injury.
nothing. That was an injury. That shouldn't have counted. Blah blah blah. And then he goes and beats Cheeto the way he did, and it's like, look, I proved my point. That shit don't count, right? Cool. It would have that would have been better.
I think he that freaking actually get in the lab and work on defending takedowns in that matter.
I think
that
earlier
he had that success against Aljo and it went how it went. It made him think like, oh, these grapplers
even from that perspective, right? Like fighting Merab before Aljo, he would have beat Aljo more.
Exactly.
Right? Because he would have had so that's what I'm saying.
And he had this trouble first.
And I think the other factor of it, attitude-wise, right? Like fighting Merab as champion after you beat Aljo, that ego it's really tough to battle that. You can't fault him for that, right? Now, fighting him early on when he's still in hunger mode, like he can talk champion the whole time, so I never really felt like I was big. Like you can say that all you want, but there's a significant difference in the feeling once you win the thing you were trying to win, right? Like you just feel very different on the other side of that. So I think that hunger changed a little bit, especially going against somebody that he was like Merab acknowledged, and I love that he acknowledged it in the ring because I feel the same way, bro. Everybody's a person. We're all capable of doing the same thing. Some of us can do it better than others. When it comes down to it, if you have to prove that, the only person who's going to believe in you is you.
And to be honest, this could only make O'Malley more.
It should make him more dangerous. It's either going to break him dramatically or
either
make him incredible.
Get the wrestling defense, or he's going to be like we saw Leon versus Usman. But did he buy into his own hype and think he was going to defend Bilal?
I think it's a similar situation with Leon and Bilal. Something differently then, but now after seeing the Sean O'Malley fight with Merab, I'm like, okay, there's a trend happening where champions, rather than what we used to see where we could say a champion becomes X amount better as soon as he gets the belt because that training that becomes available, I think now in the era of social media and being so much more heavy and prevalent that champions are now becoming X amount more popular and important to the business, but they aren't able to commit the time to the training and the effort.
I don't want to say that because everybody says that O'Malley is this super, has not taken a step back since becoming a star or whatever.
Yeah, everybody also said that he was going to chin Merab. So
exactly, it's also a matter of like not understanding that you were able to defend Aljo's takedowns and whatnot. It's not.
But this is where I feel different with it.
Just all very technical.
But this is where I feel different with it. When he fought Aljo, you could tell that he had prepared, he was ready, he was fighting hungry, he wanted that win, right?
Like I said, it might have given him false confidence. Thinking like, yeah, these grapplers ain't got nothing on me.
Right. So couple with that false confidence. Also becoming even more of a celebrity, even more popular, right? And all of these opportunities to go do these other things are present. Do I go do this thing or do I go to training, right? And even if training only cuts back 10% from what you were doing before, that 10% might be really important.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's possible, but I don't want to put it.
I see it that way because
not focusing on the right things. Like you see him making these videos with a dog.
But I'm not even.
But it's take down from a dog.
It's not even just O'Malley I'm saying it with, right? Because when we look at Alexa Grasso, same thing, right? Like her whole online persona and presence skyrocketed after she became the champion. It almost doubled Raw versus Shevchenko, right? When we saw her fighting, I don't feel like I saw Alexa Grasso improve from her last fight. In fact, I kind of feel like I saw her regress because she didn't even really try for takedowns. The one or two that she did go for, she landed pretty well, almost took the back, and it was the most dangerous moment for her in the fight. So like, why didn't you stick to that game plan? You know, it didn't feel like
she seemed like she was giving up. And I remember at one point I was sending you like, there's no switch up in her game plan
at all.
But she has to but she didn't have to. Realizes she's getting close on these submissions, and she just has to set her up better. If you see a takedown coming and it's there, take that guillotine.
She need to go for her own takedown. Why are we giving in?
That could have been the perfect defense too. But the thing is, success in the grappling, it's just tough to do it from your back.
Exactly. And the one time she got a takedown, she ended up on the back.
And she threatened for the sub a couple times.
So I think that's why I say,
but
like,
at one point you see like a little bit of her like her like resting on her morals and just she didn't go for anything.
Yeah, she was breaking. And that's why I feel like there's something that happened because, again, I saw the same thing with Leon Edwards, right? So now we're looking at 3 brand new champions, 3 of them who all kind of skyrocket. Again, this is all just thoughts in the air. But, like, we see them have the same type of defeated look where in my mind, I'm watching the fights and the image I'm seeing on their face is I wasn't ready for this.
Exactly.
Right? Not this guy is so tough.
No,
not this guy is smoking me. Not this guy is better than me. Every one of them have the same look on their face that says,
wow,
I did not prepare for it. And in that tells me there might be something there with the press commitments that they might be losing out on. Besides those two, though, holy shit, UFC Sphere has some bangers, including my favorite. And this one is, I'm going to start here because I want to just acknowledge that sometimes people in the betting community can be kind of strange, right? So this guy was going back and forth with me online about how wrong I was for picking Ribovics as the most likely dog on the card, right? And when I asked him, he's like, Edgar Shire, if you think otherwise. And I was like, yeah, but you also say you thought that my pick was like the 4th most likely underdog. So who are your top 3 if you think this guy's 4th, right? Never responds to that, but left it with Edgar Shirez. Edgar Shirez performed incredibly. Edgar Shirez versus Joshua Van been fight of the night.
It was my fight of the night.
Could have been fight of the night.
Personally.
But Edgar Shirez did not win the fight.
And absolutely the best round was that fight, round 2. Oh my God.
Was it round 2? I thought we went back and forth crazy.
It was round 2. It was amazing.
Round 2 was where he almost stunned Joshua Van? Where he stunned him rather and almost knocked him? All right. So round 2 was where it almost finished for both of them.
Might have been the best round of the year.
And in no way was I rooting against Edgar Shirez. I also believed he had a good chance. But a fight, bro. God damn, those guys was... Listen, like we just acknowledged, round 2 was a back and forth like we had not seen.
Joshua Van, man.
I think up until that point in the fight night, right? Like, that was the first fight that really had that crazy warring pace. Raul Rosas Jr. But I hate that I'm going to put myself in the hot seat with this take, but I don't think Raul Rosas Jr. is going to get to live out the dream of being the youngest champion. I think that is not realistic anymore. So turn your full different, more powerful, longer-lasting goal. The performance we saw this weekend against somebody that you were kind of set up to win against just wasn't that great. But you did win the fight.
That great.
So that matters.
Is you being very, very nice. It wasn't a good performance, and it wasn't as bad as you calling for a bonus after it. But it was the hardest fight to watch all night.
I wouldn't say.
Yes, it was. I'll take the wrestling from Valentina and Merab over that.
The hardest fight of the night.
For me personally.
Oh, you're right. Raul Rosas Jr. had the worst fight of the night. It is his rookie year, though, and he was up against, well, I guess there's a lot of people rising on this card. Never mind. There's a lot of people rising on this card.
He's 19. He probably was shocked by his opponent in whatever way. He got the win.
Of course. But like I said, I don't think him becoming youngest champion is a real possibility.
That's not.
The shock performance for me, and I am so glad Dana, although not raising any bonuses, gave out a second performance of the night bonus to Yadigui. And let me just clarify, Joshua Van and Edgar Shirez did not win performance of the night.
No.
That was poorly timed the way I said that.
Yes.
But performance of the night went to Yasmin Yadigui and Ketlin Souza, primarily Ketlin Souza, for the outstanding fight IQ. She stunned her with a demon punch from the gates of hell, rocked her to the ground. Yasmin Yadagui looked up, confused and stunned, probably would have survived the ground and pound. But instead, Kettler ran in there, and choked her out from a side angle that is really hard to get the choke in, and left Yasmin sleeping.
For the first finish in the sphere, we had a woman finish.
The first
Sub.
finish at the sphere.
That's why she got up.
With a sub. In the first round.
Mm-hmm. Big dog, too.
Big underdog, plus 350. If you had bet by sub, I believe the sub line was plus 740.
Oh, I thought it would be a little higher.
Wasn't that crazy?
She must be a sub artist, that's why.
She's, I think almost all her fights have been finished to this point. Okay. And then she has like a pretty even split of subs and strikes.
That would have been great bet
and KOs, rather. So that was an incredible fight. Like, I was upset, obviously, because I had Yasmin Yadagui in my DraftKings lineup. But outside of that, it was fastest performance of the night. And stunning by Ketlin Souza. Still, Yasmin Yadagui, of course, way better on the feet. But sometimes being better on the feet doesn't survive a big punch, bro. And that big punch, like I said, Yadagui, Souza brought that punch from the other side of the country. They were fighting in Vegas, and Yasmin Yadagui got hit with a left hook from New York, bro. Watch that video. She dragged that shit back like she was going to touch the cage first.
She wasn't ready.
It was absolute insanity. And then we went to the actual performance of the night. Winner, Manuel Torres versus Ignacio Bahamondes, primarily on the Ignacio Bahamondes side with a man. How do you describe this punch, bro?
Bro, that was just amazing. Amazing.
Like, I would have called it a lucky punch if it happened on the first one, but the fact that he did it twice the same exact way, both times, and big props to Bahamondes for having the fight IQ to, again, not chase an early finish, right? Understanding the opponent that's
and he went right back to it, got it again.
Yep, and found it again. He was like, I'm gonna let you get up. I got this. I got a couple hits in. You're stunned right now. This should have weakened you just a little bit. Get up. You'll go for that shit again. He went for it again, and bing bang, dropped to the floor.
It was another great round to watch. That one round was great.
Yeah.
Got some licks in, but then got caught.
So we had back-to-back finishes. And then we went right back to decisions. Although in this fight, I will say, I was very exhausted for the day. There's no blame at all on the fight in any way, shape, or form.
I'll say
out of space. The fight was amazing. The headbutt that caused the cut is not how the cut ended up. The headbutt that caused the cut is not how the cut ended. I don't know if Norma Dumont put a heat-seeking on that cut after that headbutt happened, but it looked like every single time she landed a strike, it was directly on the cut.
It was unfortunate in that sense.
She did everything Sean O'Malley said he was going to do to Merab, bro.
Yeah.
It was insane. Like, the cut opened because of the headbutt, but the way that it finished, the split level it got to,
was
100% because Norma was putting a
Do you think
pounding.
they didn't want to end it because of that? Because it was opened by a headbutt, and it would have been like, oh, we got to give you a TKO victory, but.
Better speculation than what I had. My speculation is now feeling like the simple and easy route, which is, it's UFC Mexico, bro. It's Noche UFC. This is Mexican fighters we're talking about the heritage of, you know? So, in the spirit of any other fight night, the doctor would have stopped. That night, having that pressure on your back, looking at the situation and saying, you know what? This is a really bad cut, but it doesn't hinder you from fighting.
Both theories are bad in my opinion, but which one's worse?
isn't like
It's a
bad
look.
that they did it.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't. I don't.
I think the Mexican theory is not bad because again, we look at
No. Theories aren't bad. They're
as far as
they're
like
both very plausible.
I don't think it's a bad look for the UFC as far as or for anybody as far as like if they went that route, the Mexican route, because we look at Rolando. Was it Rolando, bro? It was Ronaldo. Ronaldo Rodriguez, right, versus Ode Osborne. If the ref would have stopped the fight after that first punch, how many people would actually be mad? Right? Like on a realistic level, that was a beautiful knockout. That dude was pretty much out. And if the ref would have any other fight night,
I would have thought it was early.
I would have been fine with it. I was like, yo, there's no way he's getting up from that. Remember, I
would have thought it was early, but I wouldn't have thought it was the worst stoppage. We've seen so many.
I wouldn't have thought it was early at all. I would have been I would have given it like, bro, if there was a map that tells you what's early and what's not, like you were so close to the line of being early, you know what I'm saying? But you just missed, you just dodged it and got this one. This is a good swing, right? But even after he got, like as he was getting up from that, he ended up in the choke because as I was saying to you, yo, bro, he's not back yet. Like his body's just moving. He got up and his body was like this, bro. His body was like this as he was trying to get up, just swinging back and forth. And that's how Ode snatched up the choke and was able to put him. Which he then also got out of like a monster, bro. Like, what is this? You know, so after seeing some performance, like, or imagining performances like that come up, because I think that was after the Aldana fight. Like, performances like that, and again, the history of what the Mexican is about. So as a doctor, I'm good with that, bro. I'm not mad at that.
You're thinking the refs were advised, like, do not have any early stoppage.
No, I wouldn't go as far as making a claim like that. I would say
just the refs knowing
as a person in the back of your mind, like tonight, bro. You know what everything is. Like even the judges with the Sean O'Malley card, right? Like, you know what's going on tonight. Like, yes, that was egregious and nuts for you to judge that way, right? But you know what tonight's about. So in your mind, right, you're like, yo, if I see it as a 40, and another judge maybe sees it as a 48, 47, and then one guy gives it the other, like, it's not that ugly.
You don't want to be the guy, but let somebody else be the guy to do it, maybe.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be the guy to ruin the iron horse they're trying to push right now, you know?
I'll put it one. Got it.
Right.
Yeah, I see.
But again, that's me talking about natural human nature that I don't feel you can get mad at unless it becomes intentional. Like if somebody's literally sitting there like, yeah, I'm gonna get me a bonus if Sean O'Malley win this bitch tonight. Like, that's crazy, right? Nobody's actually doing that. They're looking at the round where Sean O'Malley was able to avoid all the takedowns because Sean O'Malley had a round where he didn't get taken down, and they're like, you know, compared to the other round, they're pretty much dead even if he was able to block all the takedowns. I give it a little 47.
It wasn't dominating. He wasn't dominating rounds, but he won every round. To the fifth round. He didn't win the fifth.
Oh, you don't think he won the fifth?
No,
you think that body kick was enough to not win the fifth? Really?
Yeah.
Bro, he took him down after that and was perfectly fine.
He hurt him twice.
Yeah, but he recovered. Still like a minute and a half left in the fight, and he took him down and utilized the takedown.
Damage over a takedown.
Nah, not when you getting beat like that at that point, bro.
He got his nose in that round, and he got the body shot in that round. So I'll give him that round.
I don't know. Usually I'm against the wrestlers, but for me, that fifth round image, especially after even losing the whole four, like for me, that screams you gave it your best shot and you still ended up on your back.
Well to be honest, the way that round went to me was O'Malley showing that he could have went for a little.
But even if we look at it that way, it still ended from the perspective of even if you turn the heat up, he still was gonna get it done. Like you said, he hurt him. He got him with two body kicks that hurt. One of them he reacted to. Merab reacted stupidly in a couple moments. Like he forgot what was happening. But I excitement he was actually feeling for being in the moment.
Yeah.
But he had 2 body kicks, and then, like you said, the nose, right?
And at
But
one point, he looked at the time and he saw it was like 40 seconds left. He just started smiling.
he just started smiling, mad happy, bro. When he was on the ground and he finally was pulling back, and O'Malley was trying to take the arm to do whatever he thought he was doing. Like, smiling, bro. He's just chilling. He's having a blast. So I think Mexican Spirit is what we were talking about before that. Plays a big part of that. So that's why I think that was allowed to continue as long as it did. I mean, even if you look at the way she's recovering, right? And around because the Ronaldo fight was afterwards, so maybe the ref saw that and was like, "Nigga, I'm getting fired if I stop the fight after a little knockdown." Like, Irene Aldana just went out with her face split in half, like saw face, bro. You think I'm gonna stop a fight because you got taken? Better not die. Like,
this was another fight that could have easily been fight of the night, another night.
On another night, yes, it would have definitely been a fight of the night contender.
Just not in this fight. It was probably top.
It
was in the top 5. That's it.
Sorry to go completely off course for a second, but this is how like the Emmys just happened last night. We record on Mondays and drop it on Tuesdays. So the Emmys just happened, and the Oscars, the Grammys. When I look at those, right, and people get mad and stuff, I'm like, you got to understand, at the moment that these awards are happening, look at all of the competition they have, right? So, like, in this fight this fight on a fight card that doesn't have Zellber versus Ribovics, that doesn't have Ortega versus Lopes, that doesn't have Bahamondes versus Torres, right? That doesn't have Souza versus Yarigui. That's only 4 fights. Most fight 10, 12, 13 fights. Mad potential to be fight of the night. But tonight was not the night for you to be the fight of the night, bro.
It was just too much. It was just
not even close.
It was some good scraps.
It was some good scraps. But I don't even know what else can really be said. Apparently, was really angry at O'Day going into this fight about what O'Day had said about them training together, which I respect that, because I think if you train together with somebody, that really shouldn't ever come up.
I also think it was probably mixed in the translation, because O'Day didn't say anything disrespectful. He didn't say anything. He just said that we've trained together.
No. He finished that sentence with, and you know what happened. That for me,
I didn't see that. I didn't see that part.
Yeah, that was on the press conference. He was like, "Yo, this dude's talking like he really got a chance, but he didn't say like he really got a chance. He's like, he's talking crazy, but we know what happened, right? So that's why when he came out swinging the way he did, I was like, yeah, no, it looks like they sparred, and O'Day knows exactly what happened, and he's gonna just replicate that in front of everybody. The difference being, when you're sparring, you're not actually going for the finish. So the number one thing you never get anybody is how tough they are. You're never going to learn how tough somebody is sparring. And in a fight, again, on this particular night of all nights, wasn't going to happen, bro. Wasn't going to happen.
It wasn't going to happen, bro. They might have questioned the stoppage or whatever, but...
Exactly. I could think of 15 other fight nights where you would have gotten that knockout and everybody would have just been complaining about the early stoppage the next morning. But tonight, what's happening? Was not tonight.
Oh, man.
Did we talk about the fight of the night yet?
No, we have not.
I just mentioned them that many times that I felt like we did. Because Esteban Ribovics, like I said to everybody, alongside Merab Dvalishvili, because I was the only person on that side for some crazy reason, wrestler guy. But anyhow.
The Mexicans took a lot of L's, man. They took a lot
of L's tonight.
I don't think they lost
it was
in their stock.
Latino Heritage
Night. I don't think they lost in their stock.
This was Noche UFC.
Daniel Zellweger did not lose in his stock.
Oh, no. Nobody who lost any stock. Nobody who lost any stock. Even Yasmin Yarigui, that was still the better striker leading up to the moment where she was no longer striking. And in this fight, but Daniel Zellweger, or even Manuel Torres versus Bahamondes, we really didn't talk about Manuel Torres. Like, Manuel Torres' performance was amazing too. The only thing was his advantage is usually his range and distance, and you're not doing that against 1,000-foot Bahamondes. It's not realistic, right?
It was a tough
he's
match.
actually,
It was a
I think
tough
he's
match.
actually like 5. I think he's like 6'1". But anyhow, Daniel Zellweger versus Esteban Ribovics was probably, and this is why I bet on Ribovics as the underdog. It was probably, in my opinion, on paper, the closest fight of the whole night. And when they fought, it showed exactly that. There is not a barbershop you could walk into where they're going to be able to just cleanly say every round went to anybody.
No.
Every round is debatable, bro.
That was a back and
Every
forth.
round is debatable.
Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
The
fight.
whole fight.
And
I think it even got to a point where their striking differential was almost identical up until burst that Ribovics was able to pull off towards the
Oh
end.
my God! Towards the end, what we got is an image of how they're gonna stop a fight like Aljo versus
total strikes
early.
Total strikes
Let
was
him go through that.
121 to 156, right? Esteban Ribovics with 156. Now, round 3 created that differential.
Yes.
Because that's where he stunned Daniel and was just chasing him around the ring, and Zellweger was like, I just have to stay alive long enough to get back on my feet and throw some punches back. And that is exactly what he managed to do. But in round 3 is where the differential came up with 43 strikes for Zellweger, 90 Ribovics. And I think in such a close fight, that becomes the deciding factor.
How you end the fight.
How you end the fight becomes, especially when it ends in that
It's almost
way.
like that last round counts for like 2 rounds.
Right.
It's just.
And when it ends in that way, like first round, we talking about 27-20 Zellweger side. Round 2, we talking 51-40 on the Zellweger side. Round 3, 43-92 with a sloppy takedown attempt that was really just a survival move. I don't even like when they call those takedown attempts because he was just trying to stay alive.
Time.
But the fight. That was the fight, for sure. And it earned itself a well-deserved fight of the night, bringing us to what was the last amazing fight on the card, because I don't think that the main event and co-main event were bad. I definitely don't feel negatively about them as Uncle Dana does. But I do agree they weren't a great way to end a card that built up so much momentum.
Well, I told you guys this was my main event right here. Diego Lopes versus Brian Ortega.
I guess mine was kind of on before because that's really where.
If you remember when we was rating,
we was rating him. You rated this for 2 points.
Yeah, no, I gave it 4. I gave it 4. We was already down 3 or something. I went over to 10 already before we even got to the last 2. Yeah.
So Brian Ortega and Diego Lopes
did not disappoint.
Listen, this fight did not disappoint.
I love Ortega.
That Brian Ortega got his ass whooped.
I love Ortega.
That was disappointing.
I love Ortega, but passing the torch to Lopes as that guy that's gonna stand and bang with you and has that jiu-jitsu tool in his belt right there.
It's time. This was the way to do it.
I could not see a more perfect passing of a torch because that's exactly who Brian Ortega is. He's gonna go up there, stand and bang with you. The only difference is he has been known to have some bad defense in his boxing.
Yeah, his hands have never been super
but
great.
Nobody beat him till Max did. He got all the way to the title with that.
But with a lot of submissions.
But my point is, he ran from anybody. He had standing guillotines.
He's never ran. No.
I think it was 7 people more off his back than him going for a takedown.
Well, yes, that's the thing. That's why going into this fight, I didn't bet on this fight at all because for me, I'm just too big of a Brian Ortega fan. I really didn't see a clear path to victory for him. Mm-hmm. And I love Diego Lopes, but the night of, right? Like it's a change. It's literally a changing of a guard for me. Like whoever won this fight is who I'm betting on moving forward because it's just that simple in my mind, right? So now Diego Lopes is in that lovely boat where I'm like, yo, this is really the guy you got to really count on for most fights. I don't agree with him as far as going to a title fight. I think
you were screaming, call out Volk, call out Volk.
Volk, bro.
Call out Volk.
Call out Volk for 2 reasons. One, you're going to get the fight.
That's a matchup that's
you called out Volk, you're going to get the fight.
It's actually a really
2,
good matchup for him.
It puts you in a Merab position. Now you've beaten a title contender
number 3
and a formal champion who's only lost to Ilya, right? Like besides that,
at the weight class,
right at the weight class. So had one of the craziest title runs. So if you come in and you can beat Volk, now you guarantee yourself a title shot no matter who's holding the title. And this, whatever reason, again, the analysts are going insane saying that Ilya is going to smoke Max Holloway. I am on the complete opposite side of that conversation. I think it's going to be a crazy fight. They're both going to get fucking ruined. But Max Holloway is going to win. Because in a fight with the level of pressure that Max Holloway brings to the table. But that's a conversation for another day. Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopes. I couldn't have been happier with the fact that Diego Lopes won, unless Brian Ortega had put up a little bit more of a fight. I feel like his toughness, what we really love about Brian Ortega, his downfall of this fight, because it prevented Lopes from shining with a finish. Because you can't really finish a guy like Ortega. He's tough to finish. But
I don't think he's been finished.
I don't think he's been finished. Right.
I don't think so.
How did they count the loss to Yair first time? I think they counted it as a TKO. Because he got injured.
I don't remember. Did I click on him? I don't.
Let's find out real quick. Because
I
we
don't
already
remember.
talked about Merab and Shevchenko. 4 losses, and those are by...
He won that submission.
Yep, they gave it to him TKO. Doctor stoppage.
Oh, the
Bad
first
leg.
time. Okay.
Yeah, that's why they had the rematch.
I ain't never been finished. That
was
doesn't
injured.
count. Got injured.
Finished Holloway. See, I knew somebody finished him.
Oh, they did
Yeah.
call that before the 5th round.
Yep. I think that's I think that's the only KO he lost. He lost.
Okay.
Yep.
But like I said,
But again, Holloway, what did I just finish saying
with
about
questionable
Holloway?
stand-up defense, he took that all the way
Took
to the
that
title
all
shot.
the way to the title shot.
Only to
So,
get finished by Max in the 4th.
you know, Ortega was always the real deal, and that's why for me, I was.
For some reason, I was
wanted to
remembering
see
that as a
more,
decision.
but I would have been okay with a stoppage, and that's also one of those fights where it shows you a very important thing that I think aspiring fighters need to take into mind as you're growing in the fight game. Right? It's builds. You're going to be afforded different opportunities than other fighters. Right? And the same is said for other fighters. So you are going to find yourself in situations where anybody not named Brian Ortega, most refs are stopping that fight in the first round. The way Diego dropped him, wobbling to get up, you only get that because you are Brian T. City Ortega. You have fought. We see what you do. We see what you're capable of. Charles Oliveira is another example.
Yeah.
There's been tons of fights where the way Charles Oliveira went down
100%.
and ended up winning by sub, a lot of refs are not giving to Oliveira, right? Because the rule book is very open to interpretation because we don't ever want the rules to take away from the fight. Like it did with the John Jones only loss with the elbow shit, right? Like that should not have taken the fight in a way where he's now lost, right?
Should have had a point taken away, all that kinds of stuff.
But that's up to the ref's
But the
discretion.
problem is, Matt Hammer wasn't going to be able to continue.
Huh?
Matt Hammer wasn't going to be able to continue. He was already at a point where the ref could have already called it. So that's the problem. If he would have been like, oh, that's illegal, we're taking a point, would Matt Hammer have been able to get up and continue fighting?
He would have had to.
I don't know that he would have already. He got smashed.
Yeah, but I think then that question is different because then it says, all right, how deep into this are we supposed to investigate, right? Because we have, this is one of the most complicated things for me right now is where we are with technology. We are at a place in technology where you can get so pinpoint accurate with what you've recorded. And guys, remember, I make movies for a living. Even though I don't work directly with the cameras, like I have to understand how they work. Anyway, like you can get so detailed can capture, right? That we can just look at the footage, bro, and answer any questions we have.
Yeah.
Right? When we look at the Steve Garcia versus Kyle Nelson, right? That elbow that grew an elbow last week, as you said, right? Go back and look at the footage.
Exactly what I was
we
about to
can
bring up.
slow that
That's
shit
exactly what I was gonna
down
bring up, 'cause
so much that we can see moment skin made contact with skin and say,
since last
was that
episode,
legal?
I wanted to bring up. I wanted to bring up the question: Are we getting? Is the UFC getting to a place where maybe they need a second referee? Not a second referee in the cage, but on the camera. Having this conversation with the referees, whether that was absolutely a low blow. That was absolutely a blow.
I don't know about a
Oh
second.
no, that was at the belt. That was at the belt.
I don't know about a second ref because a lot of people don't know this already exists, but there's already a box of refs. So every UFC fight, right? You know how when you watch a card, during each fight, when they say they're going to the review officials, they're just going to the other refs that aren't working the fight. So those refs are now looking at the camera and saying, yes, that was the eye poke or whatever it is.
Well, have them have a mic that's connected to the earpiece
to each other.
So like
They don't have that. But I think a easier step, right, would be to give them or to give space for a system in which the corners ask for a review. The only person who can ask for a review is the ref.
Yeah,
right? So if you look at like
ask for a review and know that it's not gonna work, but just give my fighter a minute. That's where it gets controversial.
That is where it could get controversial.
That's
where we have to come up.
That's why I believe there should be a ref that's actually paying attention to the footage.
But because now you're distracting the person trying to watch. Now they have this person talking to them about what they're seeing in camera from a completely different angle while I'm trying to see what.
There's protocols that they can build in it, but
there's flaws on both sides.
I think that's a conversation to be had, though.
Definitely, there's definitely a conversation around how it works because like every other sport is doing it.
Yes.
Right. NFL's doing it, and closest example I could give because there's also a level of cardio that plays into your ability to continue winning the game, right? Basketball,
but
there's a level of cardio
that
plays into it.
There's a split in the action every single time. There's always a pause. A pause in the action in football from one play to
there
the
isn't
next.
in basketball. Basketball would be a better. The closest thing they have is like the second between points.
What they use is a timeout.
Right.
Because when they're challenging, what they're basically getting is a timeout, and at the end of the timeout, the refs have a decision. Oh, you were right. You keep your timeout, and the play's reverse. Oh, you were wrong. You lose the timeout. That's the thing about.
So we'd have to implement some sort of timeout thing.
Yeah.
Or it could be a post active thing because that's what appeals are anyway. We just do it in real time have it.
What about loss of position for a glove thing?
That's what I was gonna say. Like it could be an appeal thing, right? Where rather than us go through this whole fight happens and then you appeal the fight after the fact and then we see how it gets overturned when it's been forever later, right? Just do it in real time. So real time at the end of the round, right? The corner's allowed to appeal something that happened in that round and say, hey, I need this reviewed, right? Yeah. Still, there's a time limit that time to 30 seconds. You have exactly 30 seconds to review the moment you're asking for, right? That could potentially solve it because now, yes, we can think about all of the worst cases and ways this can be used, but just thinking about removing that because that's super unlikely. The good cases are moments like of a fight where she's screaming, yo, she grabbed my glove, right? I don't really see an issue with bringing that fight back to where it was. It's only been 30, 45 seconds. We reviewed the footage real quick. Yo, you grabbed the glove. Matter of fact, as a penalty,
we're standing you up
rather than take a point because taking a point would be controversial. So on the fight, it was about to be we're stopping anyway. Take 30 seconds, review the footage. Oh, look, yep, that definitely led to that. And now here we are, we're restarted, standing up.
I can see where they could put a system in place, man. Now, what exactly?
Now, is it absolutely necessary? Not really. That's the reason the system doesn't exist.
It's not necessary, but the sport is growing and it can use some improvements, and that's possibly one
that's a small refinement.
That's something that they should at least have the conversation for.
Right.
How realistic is it that we'll see it anytime soon? I don't know.
And like I said, it's not the appeal side of it, right? Like it's already something they're doing. The only difference is right now, the only person who can call to the review judges is the ref. Right? The ref, if a fighter says, hey, this thing happened, the ref makes the decision to say, let's find out if it happened. Stop the action, right? And that's when, and even in those moments, you see how quick they those moments, the ref is like, yo, review that. And he's like, you can't go to your corner. You can't go to your corner. All right, we're back. It was nothing. Get back to fighting. Right? That's like less than 10 seconds that took place. You're not really getting anything out of that break. And in some cases, that might be worse for you because that 10 seconds that you started the relaxation process is going to fuck up you getting back into the warm zone. That for that sake.
I'd rather another judge make that decision. Like, yeah, maybe we need to take another look. Give it a second. As opposed to having the corners have to chirp for it. It just becomes too subjective as to, I trust Ray Longo. Tim Welch is always playing, or some, you know?
Yeah, Tim Welch has fucked things up. You know what I hate with Tim Welch is that he doesn't stand on his shit. Like, bro, don't lie about what you said. He's saying that all he was saying was, you got to be patient, and he was talking to Sean.
No. Since the Aljo fight, he was telling Aljo, you better shoot. Oh, you're going to shoot? You're going to shoot for the takedown? Yeah, he's going to shoot. Aljo's going to shoot. Like, stuff like that.
People who were there say they heard him screaming, what's 1 + 1? Like, bro, you're literally screaming shit to distract him. And there's nothing in the rule books.
1 + 1 is not good. It shouldn't have got that effect out of him. But you're just trying to be a troll.
Exactly, you're trying to troll.
You have a whole job to do.
It's not the math that's bothering me. It's the fact you keep asking me the same question.
You know what's the funny thing? It wouldn't be as bad if there isn't footage of him telling Sean, "You're almost through this. One more round. You're almost through it."
Right.
I've seen fighters quit on themselves. I've never seen a coach quit on his fighter like that.
I think that's the most important topic to talk about because as far as Sean O'Malley goes, my belief is
that's tough.
Tim Welch. As a coach. Keep him there as your friend. Keep him there as an assistant coach. Be there as your spiritual partner, your journeyman, whatever you want to call him. But as a coach, it's time to bring other people into the fold because it's become clear that your relationship and celebrity status has to a place where neither of you can check your ego. And that's not good.
Yeah, all fair, but we'll see how that goes.
You need somebody who can. You can't have a coach that's telling you that everything you're saying is going to happen is absolutely what's going to happen. You need a coach that's going to be sitting there saying, yeah, that's possible, but we need to make that happen. And if that doesn't happen, this is what needs to happen. Have you thought about that yet? Right? Because it don't sound like Tim Welch is saying to him, you're probably going to snipe him, but like, if you don't, what do we do? It didn't even feel like Tim Welch was having that conversation. Tim Welch seemed like he was confused as to what
and that's all on him because he was focusing on the wrong things.
You sitting there yelling at Merab, trying to have fun and distract him, as opposed to actually preparing for a fight because that's what's happening. You know. Usually we go into the next week of fights, but unfortunately this week it's not a lot of fights coming up. News. I am holding Uncle Dana in our prayers because it was recently revealed that he has some spotting on his brain from his youth as a boxer. Which is, for those who don't know, spotting on the brain is signs of early onset dementia, Alzheimer's, and other memory-related brain issues that could develop. So they're keeping an eye on it, of course, but I appreciate Dana being so open and willing to share it, especially as someone who promotes people getting hurt in the same way that he did. And I'm also very... I'm accepting of his response of like, yo, we're all going to die at some point. I'm going to die. I don't regret a single punch I took or threw. And I've been living life to the fullest, you know? And it's like, yeah, you're right. But at the same time, while we're here and it's affecting you, most people would take this moment to say, the real thing that could affect tons of people, some people who might not be in the financial position I'm in to be able to afford any type of treatment that may be able to save them from this. Let's figure out ways to help with that. Especially, and I know this is really complicated math, so I'm not trying to the thought process you've probably already put into it for anyone who's already thought of this. But just thinking about different ways to support fighters with health insurance and stuff of that nature. Like Francis Ngannou was fighting for. So, yeah. Anyhow, next week, this week we have no fights. Fights come back on 28th with a headlined fight night, UFC Paris featuring Renato Moicano. That's right, Money Moicano versus Benoit Saint-Denis. And as are the odds, I am on the side of Benoit Saint-Denis. I think he is due to flipping over this recent losing streak he's been on. Hasn't been going well.
You're not wrong, but stylistically, Renato, he has a chance.
Renato's chaotic, but not. I don't love him chaotically in the way that I love Michel Pereira.
He has a chance.
But he has a chance. Joanderson Brito versus William Gomez is the co-main event as of right now. Another one where I'm on the side of the odds, which is unfortunate because William Gomez is supposed to be the France representative, and I think Joanderson Brito is just not the guy that they should have put him against. I believe his technical striking will outperform Joanderson Brito on the feet long enough and well enough to stifle Joanderson Brito. But Joanderson Brito is also the guy who is one of few people with a leg kick KO. So maybe his striking is not the best place to be against this guy.
I thought we were going to get into these fights because...
No, I just wanted to talk about the three main fights, right? The main event, co-main, and the featured fight.
You just wanted to talk about
I just wanted to talk about Brian Battle. You have to fucking lose it right, baby.
ain't seen
Brian Battle versus...
Wow.
It's time we see Brian Battle. I'm super excited to see him back in the fight. I'm always on the Brian Battle side. I haven't even seen the odds for it yet.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed because I don't know who Kevin just said is. And
this is another one of those highlighting the French fighter type of cards. This is one of those regional. I say regional, not in the
why they put him in there? Brian Battle's a murderer.
Brand building regional. So they put him against Brian Battle because Kevin Gisette is a dangerous striker. He is very good. I just think Brian Battle is on this new route to potential championship or championship opportunities. The only problem being that his name has been around so long.
And he hasn't fought a big time.
His name has been around so long that he hasn't really had a chance to fight a big time guy. Remember, he also changed weight classes.
Yes, he was a middle. He came in as a middleweight from Tough. And then he went down to welterweight.
Right. So now he's kind of rebuilding himself. And again, like I said, the legacy of having been on Tough so long ago, is old. Because he's not old at all. I think he's 30 at this point. But those are the three major fights on the card that have the least likelihood of changing. Then we got a bunch of other great fights. Brendan Allen's going to be fighting. Gabriel Miranda's going to be fighting. Matt Frevola is going to be fighting. Ian Kudalab. I'm not sure why Ian Kudalab is going to be fighting. I was pretty sure he was retired already. But I guess he's still fighting. That dude's 27 fights in, bro.
Yeah, I don't remember him retiring, but
I just assumed.
His career is not really going too well.
Yeah.
Roosevelt Roberts, he just, I believe he just won Tough.
That's funny. I was going to say Ludovic Klein, but yeah, so if it happens. And of course, Eileen Perez. Gotta love her. She's basically the female Merab at this point. So it's looking like it's going to be a really, really good
it's a good fight night.
Card for...
Wait, is that a pay-per-view card?
No, it's a fight night.
No, it's a fight night, yeah. Fight night.
UFC Fight Night, Paris.
It's a really good fight night.
And it's going to be a really, like we just said, it's going to be a really good one. I'm excited for it.
They got to make up for the fact that we ain't got no UFC this week, so I guess...
Had to hit him with some heat.
Yeah, that's a good card. It's a good card.
Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the main event this week. As always, we thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to, you can follow me at WhatUpVega. You can follow Coach Mike at SF Big Mike. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Tell a friend to tell a friend.